Greetings, travelers. My name is Deres Fey. I am your archivist elf, and today we will be watching Spice and Wolf, the remake that they came out with about a year ago. Now, I watched the original anime several thousand years ago, and I remember absolutely loving that. It was one of my first exposures to medieval fantasy European style culture and economics. And I remember being very fond of the story itself and all the characters. I still remember Hollow and Lawrence. But I don't quite remember the full plot of the story, or at least the little details of it. So I'm very excited to get to experience this story again in this new way. I am excited to see how they have changed this. This is already a different start from what I remember. Oh, interesting. Okay, I think I know what's going on. If you are one of the very few anime only watchers from way back when, then yeah, this is a very different start. I only know what is quite happening here because I did read a little bit of the light novel, images and pictures, and the covers of the later light novels. I believe this is actually how the light novel starts, although I might be wrong. It's been years since I read the first light novel. A protective wolf spirit. That's a bit rare in fiction, actually. Usually wolves are always an antagonistic source. Oh my goodness, look at that. The animation on her hands and the wine itself. Same with you can see like the patterns on the wood. Beautiful, very, very strong start. I think we're doing a bit of a How I Met Your Mother type situation. Very interesting kind of song direction they're going here. Rather grand, but still has that kind of like traveling, we're going on an adventure type of vibe to it. It was less hopeful, and oh my goodness, Kevin Bacon. Oh, I didn't even know Kevin Bacon did the the music and OST for this. I'm assuming. Wow. No, that makes sense. He is the perfect person to pick for this. Wow. Okay. Now I'm even more excited now. Pretty clouds. I will say the animation is already gorgeous. The background, the characters, the little details on everything. A lot of care has clearly been put into this good quality wheat. Very important. Oh yeah, no, I also remember religion plays a very big part in this story. And if I remember correctly, the church is really going after these pagan festivals, these evil pagan festivals that are happening all throughout the land. And the church is doing what the church normally does in these type of fantasy stories. Heretics. Oh, Craft. That's his first name. Craft Lawrence. Yes, okay. I might be misremembering something. Let me hold back before I make that comment. I really adore this type of world building where we have these like little traditional festivals and stuff like that. I love little details like that when it comes to especially like fantasy world building. It really just adds to the culture and these people and the environment and how they think about things. Excellent storytelling. Oh, I wonder what that could have been. Oh, yeah. I might be completely wrong about this. It has been years since I watched the first anime. I think though that this character Yare, I'm pretty sure in the anime he is a girl, and I believe in the original light novel he is a he. So I think they're making this more accurate to the light novel. I'm a little sad though because Iare in the original anime was a very interesting, cool female characters. So that's I mean there's still plenty of other very cool female characters in this, obviously. But it is interesting that we will get a different. This is clearly not the same as the original anime. They clearly are going with a different route with this, so that is very cool to me. I'll probably after this actually go back and watch the original anime. Medieval politics. I love it. We dancing. Yeah, I remember one of the main kind of character traits of Lawrence is that he is quite alone and lonely. He's a traveling merchant, obviously, and I believe his travels can take weeks or months, where he is just alone traveling. And I don't want to be mean and say issues, but he doesn't make too many connections outside of business, if I remember correctly. And so that's he has a hard life, even though his life is very free. And I think it's a type of lifestyle that a lot of us kind of imagine. We're just travelers. We're going from place to place, and we have all this freedom. But when you're constantly traveling, it's very hard. You meet a lot of new people, but it's very hard to build new connections, especially meaningful connections. You might be able to make friends and friendly acquaintances, but again, having any sort of deeper connection, or even deeper friendship, it's hard, if not impossible, for this type of life. Well, what do you think? Like, if you could choose to, be a traveling merchant like Lawrence, but you're just alone for weeks on end on the road, just traveling, would that freedom be worth it to you? Even though you're so alone. I think it's a tough choice. I think a younger me would have said yes, but now an older me is far more hesitant on quite something like that. Even though the temptation is always there. I love the idea of traveling and seeing new things, and just having those experiences and that freedom. But those connections that you lose or aren't able to build is very, very hard. And now that I'm actually looking at the shot that I paused it on, I think it's really cool how you see Lawrence, and you see his shadow on that rock face, and it's a lonely shadow. Like that shadow itself looks very alone. Pure coincidence. I stopped it right there. Feeding the horsey. Oh, beautiful, beautiful moon. I like how I know. Sorry, I'm pausing a lot. That's kind of be my style. But I love that shot of the moon. How it was so it was so bright. Full moon is very, very, very bright. Oh, I I forgot how fast this happens. Ooh, the music is so good. Oh, I'm going to listen to the entire OST to this, just from that one single part of the soundtrack. Was absolutely perfect, perfectly paced. Really just set this ethereal discovery mood. Oh my god, I could nerd out about music for hours, so I will try not to do that. Oh yeah, I forgot Holo is naked a lot of the times in this, especially in the beginning. Wolfie, how? Oh, horse is scared. That's that's very cool how her kind of bones are cracking. Oh yeah, that's what I was saying. For a medieval guy to see, a woman with fox ears or not fox ears, wolf ears and a wolf tail. I imagine most medieval people in that situation would either faint or run away screaming. So I think Lawrence has a good amount of composure. I forgot Holo is a bit of an alcoholic. Well, I might be being a little mean there. She's not an alcoholic. She is, from what I remember, just a woman who enjoys her drinks and foods. As we all should. Love her voice actress. Yeah, if I remember correctly, Holo is very, very old. And so a lot of the names and places that she remembers just don't exist anymore, or they've been renamed. She's just a very, very old spirit wolf goddess girl. That's understandable. I would believe her just from the ears and the tail, personally. He's a merchant, so I guess he's skeptical of everything until proven wrong. They would be for me, Holo. They would be for me. That is clearly a wolf spirit girl. Understandable for a wolf spirit girl. I do wonder, tell me, are there any mythologies where a wolf is like a god or goddess of harvest? Because most wolves in mythology are usually, bad things. It wouldn't surprise me if maybe there are myths or folk tales of wolves as like maybe a protective spirit, maybe? I can't even think of any that are like that, though. But if anyone is smarter than me, tell me if there are any stories of like a good wolf spirit in mythology or folk tales. Eating raw wheat probably is very gross. Oh. It's okay, Lawrence. Yeah, you are a normal medieval dude. It's okay to be freaked out about that. I understand. What would you do in that situation? You're just talking to this weird girl. She transforms and then disappears. I would probably assume that I might be going crazy. Oh, he came back. Understandable. Yeah. I wouldn't want to be out on the road either. Oh my god, he's so different from the Yare in my mind. It's like watching like a Marvel movie where it's an alternative universe version of a character. Ooh, that looks delicious. No, I don't eat divine offerings. Don't do it. That would be extremely hard, assuming you assume you're Holo right now, and you've helped this village over the years, and then just slowly and steadily, they just stop believing in you when you have like an actual an actual presence and an actual effect. And they just stop believing. Like, what would that do to your mentality, especially if you're like, a 1,000-year-old being? That would, I think for most people, that would make them very resentful, probably, of humanity in general. But I do find it interesting how, at least for right now, and from what I remember, Holo doesn't have too much of really a resentment against, normal humans or humanity in general, or even the village. I don't know if a lot of us could be that good or forgiving or understanding as a person. That takes a very strong sense of morals and character and personality to not become very bitter over a situation like this. It speaks a lot to how strong her character mentally is. They ate a good amount of that. You can tell how grateful he is to Lawrence. It's very cute. Taxes. I don't like taxes in real life, at least when I have to deal with them. But when I hear about taxes in stories, yeah, that's when you know the world building is going to be good and detailed when we start talking about taxes. Interesting interaction that they just had. An interesting like series of lines where, it's understandable from his perspective. Like, obviously, like, he hasn't seen Holo in person. And it is true, probably, that this village and maybe their techniques with farming have developed. And so they've developed to this point where, yeah, they might not need, divine wolf spirit help anymore with their survival. But at the same time, because Holo, is real, that's very sad and where it leaves her. And then we have that last bit that he mentioned about the church and how they can't go against the church. And probably, I'm assuming, with this village getting suddenly more popular, or at least having more connections with like trade and being more prosperous, that the church is paying more attention to them. And from our very first interactions that we saw in this episode, the church does not like, any sort of pagan festivals or any, other godlike figures or anything like that. That's all going to be considered heretical to them. And so from Yari's point of view, them still worshiping Holo isn't just like a nice little, tradition that they have that makes their village unique. It's more of a detriment, especially in the long run, from them, because the church is probably never going to accept this village, or might hinder their trade or put pressure on them to not have these sort of festivals for Holo anymore. And so from his point of view, he's probably thinking, this is all completely useless. We're doing, these little traditions for no reason. And they're an active detriment towards our trade and our relationships with the church. So it's very understandable from his perspective on why he is like, yeah, Holo, no, let's not do these things for this, stupid wolf. Very understandable. Oh, don't fall over. Don't fall over drunk. Hello, little gremlin. You only got away with that because you're cute. Ah, yes. Wheat magic. What wolf spirit can't use that? I love fantasy in general, but I do have also like a bit of a weakness, especially for low magic fantasy settings. It oftentimes makes the magic more mysterious, more specific, and characters like Holo far more special. So I really like this explanation on her, weird little wheat teleporting magic. It's very folk talesy, and yeah, it's very charming to me. It's of course understandable, like why he's afraid, but also like she's probably very used to this. She's probably very used to being afraid by people. She's clearly had a very lonely existence, like Lawrence. Like both of them are lonely. Lawrence from his travels and Holo from her existence, and that's a very interesting kind of comparison between the two. He is stuck traveling while she is stuck in this village. And even though one of them is traveling, he is alone. And the other one, even though she's in one place, she is alone. There's a very good lesson in that, actually, now that I think about it. I never thought of this for the story before. You can be lonely anywhere. You can be lonely while you're traveling, and you can be lonely when you're stuck somewhere. That's a very interesting kind of thought that just came to me with this. It's very common in these sort of fantasy stories to have this very powerful creature who become, I don't know if the right word is indebted, but grateful to a human for something very small, like a very small kindness. Apparently she has stayed here for who knows how long, at least decades, probably centuries. She's just stayed here because one person wasn't afraid of her. That makes sense. Yeah, so they've just developed to a point where they don't quite need her anymore. I do really love, though, how there's a limitation to her magic. She can make these bountiful harvests, but not forever, or at least, she has to let the land rest. That does bring into question, though, with how whatever farming techniques these people have developed or are using, are they harmful in the long run? Or are they going to end up, having like years, maybe decades of, very good, very prosperous harvests? But then one day it like the local ecology, I think that might be the right word, will it just collapse one day? That's a question. Why would you not believe her? Yeah, I agree, Holo. Oh yeah, a wolf looking at the moon. It's so bright. It should be, though. Full moons are bright. Oh my god, beautiful. That shot is gorgeous. Those rolling hills, gorgeous. I love backgrounds like that. I'm impressed you were able to change into clothes while under there. Especially when you're not used to being in a human form. Very, very good job, Holo. I'm impressed. Oh, they're fancy clothes. No, of course not. That'd be extremely rude. You can't say no. Who would say no to a wolf god girl? She might be able to actually do that. Holo the wise wolf. A very honorable wolf. She is very confident in herself. We love that. We just got finished watching the first episode of the remake of Spice and Wolf. And I have to say, I absolutely loved it. Honestly, far more than I was expecting. I have very, very high opinions of the original anime. And I did not think that really a remake could match it. It's extremely difficult for a remake to be as good as an original piece of media, in my opinion. There are exceptions, of course, like this one. But everything about this was beautiful. That's a word I would give this episode. Just beautiful. The animation, the backgrounds, the music, the voice acting, the story flow so far was extremely well paced. Yeah, it was different. It was different from the original anime, from what I remember at least. And I absolutely loved. I love that fact. I love that this is different from the original anime. It's not the same viewing experience. It is a new way to tell this story a little bit. And I absolutely love it. I'll always have a soft spot in my heart for the art style of the original. It has that early 2000s-esque style that just isn't quite a thing anymore. But this was great. Absolutely great. Please tell me if anyone else has watched the original anime going into this, like I am, or if you started out with this first and didn't watch the original. What are your thoughts about it? I'm very curious about that. Thank you so much for watching this video and reaction. Fair travels. I will see you next time. Bye bye.